Well guys, I'm trying to figure out what Gravely project I should work on tonight. I got a couple hours of free time, and I think I'm going to work on this 430 with the 812 hood. And I haven't touched this tractor for a long time, and the problem with this tractor is that it had the old-fashioned steering box and it was shot. And a couple of years ago I purchased this rack and pinion from a guy, and it's just laying in here. It's not in there the right way at all, but I have to weld that in there the right way. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another machine that has a rack and pinion in it already to kind of find out exactly where it needs to be. And what I'm going to do is kind of measure back from the front frame back or the axle back, something to standardize the measurement, because what really is important at the end of the day is how does it interface with the front axle and the tie rods. And then the other side of the equation is how the dashboard interfaces with it. So the guy that I had purchased this from, he cut this out of a machine really nice, and again, I just got to put it in here the right way and weld it in. And normally it's up at a slight angle so that the tie rods come out angular. And maybe what I'll do is I'll go over to my 8163B, which has the same steering setup, and we'll use that to kind of mock it up as a starting point. So what I'm actually going to do here is there's this old crappy battery tray on here, and it's just welded on with a couple spot welds, it looks like. So I think I'm going to take out my grinder, try to grind those welds off, and take that tray right off of there, and then I can have more room to work down here. But we'll give it a shot. Tough stuff. Well guys, I got it off. What a pain in the butt. There's some welds back here. They're like from underneath or something. You can't even get the grind off. So I turned the frame into a little can opener action there. But this gives me a lot better perspective of where I'm going to install this kit. And I'm going to have to grind off this frame here nice before I weld it and get it prepped up. But basically this rack and pinion, at least on the other frame, you see this hole right there? On the 8000 frame, the back of this piece is right next to that hole. So basically what that means is that, if I can do this with one hand, that this bad boy is going to sit in there about like that. And the part that's crucial here is what this angle is, like this, right? So we got to have the right angle. So what I'm going to do is probably use like my bevel gauge on the other tractor and see if I can match the angle and then transfer it to this one. And when we look over here on the side, we can see that the arms there for the tie rods are just about in the right spot, and that's a good sign. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up all this rust in here with the grinder and see if we can get it in a position where we can weld on it. And then after it's welded, we're going to paint it with some primer and everything so we can prevent this rust from spreading. So that's going to be what I'm going to do next. So I'll take this out and we'll do some grinding on the frame and see if we can get this cleaned up a little bit nicer. Well, I got it ground as good as I can get. It's really pitted. And short of making an electrolysis tank around my tractor, those pits aren't going to come out. But you see the top is real shiny, but the bottom is really pitted. And up in this area is really pitted. Down across the bottom is pitted, but up here is real nice. And the other side has got a pretty similar story, where it's pitted all down around the bottom and not up top. So I think that water sits on the frame rail or snow or whatever, and it just pits it. So that should get us enough grinding to weld in that piece. So now I'm going to clean up the edges of the rack and pinion a little bit so they're shiny too. And then maybe we can do a little bit of tack welding on there and see if we can get it in the right place.